Hi, this is Brian. Welcome back to Philosopher's Notes TV. Today we've got another great book, Why We Do What We Do, by Edward Deci. So Edward Deci is one of the world's leading psychologists studying motivation, research scientist studying human motivation. His book is packed with goodness. We've got a bunch of ideas in the Philosopher's Note, and we've got 5 of my favorite big ideas we are going to discuss now. We're going to jump straight in. Big idea number 1 is really the heart of the book and the heart of what we're going to talk about today. Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Why we do what we do and why it matters. So let's start by defining our terms, shall we? Intrinsic, extrinsic. Extrinsic motivation includes things like fame, wealth, and hotness. Fame, wealth, and hotness. Those are extrinsic motivators. If we're going after being super wealthy, super famous, and super hot, well, God bless you. But what psychologists tell us, if we're predominantly focused on those things, nothing wrong with them per se, but if we're predominantly focused on them, we will be less psychologically stable, and I quote, less psychologically stable than if we pursue intrinsic motivators. Okay, so what are intrinsic motivators? Well, intrinsic motivation includes things like great relationships. Extrinsic, putting you over there. Great relationships, growing as a human being, and making a contribution to our families, our communities, and our world. So intrinsic motivation, deeper relationships, growing as a human being, and making a contribution, vis-a-vis our extrinsic motivators of fame, wealth, and hotness. Now, our society is essentially all about, if you haven't noticed, the extrinsic stuff. We're constantly being bombarded by representations of the most famous, the wealthiest, and the hottest people on the planet. So on a conscious and a subconscious level, we're constantly basically being told and believing that that's what's most important. So that's what, unfortunately, most people are going after. But it's the wrong direction. We want to focus on deepening our relationships, becoming a better human, and making a contribution, letting this stuff be a byproduct of our pursuit of the intrinsic stuff. That's the secret sauce to creating a life filled with more happiness, meaning, and mojo. People who are looking to make a contribution to the world are unequivocally happier than people who are just trying to get famous or trying to make a ton of money or trying to get that six-pack. And what's fascinating is that even if you think you're going to succeed and you're trending towards success on the extrinsic stuff, even if you're moving toward that, you're going to be less stable than people who are focused on intrinsic. So think about that. Big idea. See what you can do to tweak some motivation if you need to. And again, it's not about being 100% here and 0 there. Nothing wrong with that, but we don't want to be predominantly focused, is what the researchers tell us. That's the first big idea. The second big idea is authenticity. So, did you know the word authenticity comes from the same root word as author? So to be authentic is, in a sense, literally to be the author of your own story. You want to write your own story. Well, how do you do that? Edward Deci and his colleagues tell us that to be authentic requires us to integrate our truths and to have a coherent sense of self.